So DSCR loans, we go up to 10 units, all residential. Many non-QM lenders are stuck at 8 and 9. So that definitely lets you broaden out a little bit more to, those investors that are looking for 9 and 10 unit residentials. We're able to gross up either or the lease or the 1007. If one of them, we have to use the lower of the two. But if it's not working, we can gross up by 120%. Still have no ratio, DSCR up to 75% LTV. We can do 100% of the short-term rentals income if you put it directly on the 1007. We do first-time home buyers. We do 100% gift on DSCRs on 2 of my products, which is very popular. Full doc and alt doc loans. Alt doc is mainly what I do. I do a lot of P&Ls, a lot of bank statements. We go up to 90%, up to 2 million. The P&L is definitely very good one. No bank statements needed. It could be an EA or a C-Tech, just not a P10 or a CPA, obviously. That's no bank statements to back it up. The other lenders, what's special about our P&L program, other lenders will make you state that the CPA was the one who reviewed or prepared their tax returns the last 2 years. We just make them state that, they were the ones that reviewed their current working papers, and that's enough for us. So we've been able to get volume through on the P&Ls that other lenders have turned down for that reason. Did I hear a question?
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I got a question on the DSCR. Does the owner of the property have to have management experience and or ownership of primary residence?
Over 5 units, yes, they do. They need to have owned a property for at least a year in the last 3 years. So anything over 5 units, you are correct. Anything under 4 unit or under 5 units, so 1 to 4 units. They could be a first-time home buyer. They just need to not be living rent-free. If they're living rent-free, that's also an exception. If they can prove 12 months of rent receipt, that they're paying rent for the last 12 months, we'll use that in lieu of like a 12-month housing history, and it won't be an exception.
I have a question about bank statement. If somebody just applied for political asylum and not granted yet, but they have like more than 2 years company, they have EAD, Social Security, are you allowed to do banks 12 months bank statement for this type of people?
Correct. Yeah, everything you just said was spot on. I need the 3 years continuance along with the, that they applied and that to renew it, and that it's going to extend for at least 3 years. So yes, I can.
Thank you.
Now, the tricky ones that I run into a lot of the CO9s, the CO8s, those asylum seekers, they always apply for an extension, but it's really rare that they have any sort of documentation saying that it's going to extend for 3 years. It's really rare. Those ones are tough. And I do have kind of, a list of certain countries where it does not matter. We don't allow it, like Venezuela. But it's pretty rare that the CO8s or the CO9s are able to do a financing. Those are the ones I see the most often, though, and I get asked about. But I've never been able to get through with those 2 specific asylum seekers.
I got a question on credit. Do they need to have more than 1 trade line? Or
so if they have 3 scores showing, we waive all trade line requirements. But obviously, to have 3 scores showing, they would probably need at least 1 trade line or 2 trade lines.
I have one person that has 1 trade line for about a year and a half.
And they have 3 scores?
They have 3 scores.
Perfect. I waive trade line requirements.
For any products?
Correct.
I send you like a
it's a blanket guide through all of our products. So yes.
Give me the pre-submission.
And for bank statements, can like in example, I sent you 12 months bank statements to be figured out what the income you guys can provide?
You did, or you're asking like if you did?
Oh, I just asking you because according what you.
Yeah. So you send me 12 months bank statements. Usually people reach out to me and ask exactly what you just said. I'll send them a business narrative, which is just a form saying, hey, this is what my borrower does. This is how many employees they have. This is the nature of the business. Along with 12 or 24 months bank statements. in their name or their business name. And then I will have that sent over to my desk, get it calculated for you, send it back in a nice income worksheet. It'll show you all the, any large deposits that we might need to source that are over 50% of, the monthly income. It'll show you the expense factor. It's all neatly broken down for you. And then, of course, if that's ever looking low, we always need a CPA letter just confirming that the business is open and active. They've been employed for at least 2 years history and that they have ownership in the business. On that letter, we can also add a sentence saying, hey, the expense factor is lower, and we'll go off whatever the CPA says. So if we're using a high expense factor, say 50%, and you say, hey, my guy's a, software designer, he doesn't have that many expenses or whatever, you go to the CPA, have them write a sentence in their letter saying basically their profit margin is, 80%, 20% is the expense factor. We'll go off of that. So that's another way to, get the deal to work.
Thank you.
I got another question about seasoning. Somebody that bought a property, let's say 4-unit, bought it for, or 2 units, they bought it for, let's say 600,000, and they've done improvements, and 7 months later is worth $1 million. And they want to do a little cash out. Can we use the $1 million?
Yeah, so you just said the key part of that. So they need to be on title for 6 months to use the new value of cash out. So
Yeah.
7 months is perfect. 6 months of seasoning. They are, we can cash out with the new value. So yes.
Okay, and can that person add another person to apply for the? I mean, if another person wants to apply for the loan for that person, and he remains on title, is that allowed, or that other person has to be added to the title?
Like a non-occupant co-borrower.
Yeah, a non-occupant co-borrower without being added to title, because their concern is that this cousin wants to apply for the loan because they have better credit, and but the person doesn't want to be added to the title because of otherwise the tax that it could be
Usually it's the
reassessed.
opposite. So usually people are asking the opposite of what you're asking. They're asking, he wants to be a title only borrower. They don't want to be on the note. That's okay. They can't just be on the loan to, qualify the other borrower. No.
No, okay, so they have to be added to the title then.
Correct. Yeah.
And
don't
can
have
they
to
be
on the
added to the
note.
title? Can they be added to the title during at closing, like for whatever 10% or 20%?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, but you need them to be on title. They can't just be on the loan for qualifying purposes.
Okay.
That pretty much is being on the loan for qualifying purposes because they're not on the note, so they're not tied to any monthly payment or, credit, events.
Okay.
But yeah, I would need them to at least be on title.
Okay.